Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're all doing awesome. Happy Earth Day. Today is Earth Day, April 22nd, not April 21st. I almost said April 22nd, 2021. That's crazy. It's been a whole year since last Earth Day. Last Earth Day, I feel like was a super big deal because, I want to say it's the US Youth Climate Strike maybe did a huge Earth Day live. I know Saad Amer, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced his last name, had like Senators Markey and maybe another one, and then like Congresswoman AOC on the Earth Day Live and stuff. So that was cool. But this year, I don't think they did one like that. So I decided I would do one of myself. Hey, Martin. So I'm sorry that the image quality kind of sucks. I was trying to get the actual camera set up to do this, but then I ran out of time. So we're doing it here on my MacBook camera, which is less ideal, but yeah, we're still gonna get started here in just about 1 minute. Yeah, I guess in the meantime, I will show you a picture of my frogs because they are adorable. If I can find one, that is. Here, we're gonna enjoy that. Okay, I will be right back, you guys. All right, everyone, I am back. I hope you're all doing well. Looks like plenty of people are starting to join, so we're going to get started. I want to say hello to Quinn, hello to Simeon, hello to Martin. Sorry if you guys see the annoying StreamYard thing right there. I really didn't feel like paying $15, so we're going to have to deal with that. Hello to Ari. Hey, Gracie, I hope you're doing well. Lincoln is painting. That's awesome. Upset Leopard says hello. And Hannah, hey Hannah, I hope you're doing well. I'm super excited that you're all here and ready to learn. Who all is ready to learn about Earth Day? I guess for those of you who weren't here just a minute ago, I showed a picture of my frog, which was fun. We all love Mr. Parker there. I guess, yeah, let's just get ready to get started. I think we have lots of moderators here, which is always good. Yeah. It looks like everyone here has the magic hammer. Or wrench, not hammer. Alrighty. I think we are going to go ahead and get started. So, for those of you who don't know, today is Earth Day. I mean, I'm sure most of you are aware, but today is Earth Day, and Earth Day was started in the 1970s when the book Silent Spring was written, and I can't remember who the author was. This isn't the main topic of the stream. I just want to give you some context and background to Earth Day. Also, if you can't hear me, please let me know so I can fix the microphone. But the book was called Silent Spring, and it was written by a wonderful author. I can't remember her name, but it was about the effects that various chemicals were having on wildlife and birds. And that next year, 10% of the US population went marching and protesting to demand that people ban those chemicals. So it really goes to show that climate strikes and stuff do really work. And so I guess I can kind of talk about my background in the climate change movement. Let's see here. I'm just trying to pull up the photo. Sorry, guys. Share screen. All right, there you can see it. So here is a photo from, it's been about 2 years ago now, of when I organized a climate strike in my little town here in Oregon. Basically, it was Earth Day that we decided we wanted to do this, and it took us a couple of months, or I guess a month, a little over a month, to get it all organized and stuff, but we were able to have a highly successful climate change event where we just taught lots of people about climate change, and I'm super happy that we were able to do that. That was something that I would say is one of my proudest moments as an organizer, if you will. It's just something that, yeah, has been super fun. Sorry if I'm like seeming distracted. I'm trying to get one more photo pulled up for you. This was little baby Hunter. Everyone say hello to little baby Hunter. So anyways, that's kind of how I got my start in climate activism. And then in more recent years, I have been invited to speak on various climate change panels and stuff, which I'm very proud to say that I've been a part of those things, because I think that it's super important for people to educate other people about climate change. If no one knows what's happening, then nothing can actually get done. So right before the pandemic started last year, I guess coronavirus was a thing, but no one really knew much about it. This was like, I want to say February maybe. Oh, that's the wrong picture. I'll talk about the panel here in a minute, but here was when I went to Congressman Walden's town hall in August of 2019. The panel happened in, it looks like March of 2020. I'm just going to show this one last little thing, and then we're going to get started. Yeah, so basically myself, I was in 8th grade. It was for the East Oregonian Climate Change Coalition, and I spoke about climate change along with 2 other people who I'm super proud to say that I have spoken along with. Their names were Ivan Salgado and Ashlyn. I'm so sorry, Ashlyn. I can't remember your last name. You guys know I'm horrible with names. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of my background. It's something that I've always, or not always, but since I really heard about climate change, I was like, this is something super important. So I don't know why not enough people are talking about it. So I decided I'm going to talk about it. And I think that Earth Day is a super important day to talk about it. Real quick, I'm going to check in on the chat. Martin can never remember the frogs' names. They are Parker and Prada. Yes, we do stand Parker and Prada. And Gracie says, Happy Earth Day. Absolutely. Wow, this platform stream is really cool. Thank you. I'm really hoping that all of you are liking it and can get over that, because that's annoying, but regardless. Hannah says, just want to say thank you so much for bringing awareness to being eco-friendly and caring for our planet. So happy to find a friend as passionate about it as me. Hannah, that right back at you. I want to thank you for all of your activism as well. I think it's super important that we do make these issues known so that people can learn about them and learn to love the planet just like we do. So yeah. Hey there, Hammy's Exotics. Happy Earth Day. Okay, so I think I'm going to get started here. You can see in the chat there are some links which are to some different studies and stuff about climate change, and I'll kind of say which study and article I'm talking about when I get there, but I'm just going to start reading through a list of some bullet points. So I guess before we can do that, we have to explain what climate change is, and I'm going to pull up a little diagram. And I haven't really looked at this diagram much for a couple of years, or not a couple of years, but a year, which since Earth Day of last year, I guess. So it might be a little bit older. Wow, I can't believe it has been that long. That's crazy. But all right, I found it. I'm just going to explain how climate change works, basically, if you want to hear about that, and then we'll really talk about its effects on reptiles and amphibians. So obviously, basically, this is how it works. So I hope you can see my mouse right now. Let me know in the chat if you can't see my mouse. But basically, obviously, here's the Earth, and the Earth is surrounded by something called the ozone layer. There we go. Okay, now you can see it. So the Earth is surrounded by something called the ozone layer, which is this thing right here, and the atmosphere, I guess you can also call it. That's what I called it in the presentation about a year ago that I did on Instagram Live. So the Earth is getting heat from the sun. The sun is obviously very hot, and it is sending heat in here. And normally the Earth's atmosphere is pretty thin, but it's still thick enough to trap some heat. But as humans are burning fossil fuels, the atmosphere is getting a lot thicker, which means it's trapping more heat. So like it shows in this diagram right here, the temperatures are going up. And a lot of that heat obviously bounces off, but a lot of it can get in and the atmosphere is trapping it. That is kind of the best way that I can explain the greenhouse effect to you. Okay, perfect. You can see my mouse. That is good to know. Now, I'm going to go through here real quick and just make sure that I have all the right information so that I can really show it to you. All right. So I guess I kind of did a brief intro on climate change, and I guess I should say why we call it climate change now instead of global warming, because for I guess quite a while, that has been the popular consensus of what to call it, and now it is climate change, not global warming, because global warming is just the idea that the Earth is getting warmer because of humans, and while it is, that's not the only thing that's happening. We're also seeing more droughts in some parts of the Earth, more floods in some parts of the Earth, and more hurricanes, as well as ice melt, and all sorts of things that aren't just the weather and the temperature. So that's why we refer to it as climate change and not global warming. Hannah remembers the live stream on Instagram a year ago. Yeah, I can't believe it's been a year either. That is just so crazy. Hello, Reptilian18. Thank you, Hannah. So I'm going to provide some pretty specific examples. One general example of how climate change is affecting reptiles and amphibians is reproduction. We are already seeing climate change cause what is known as a bust year, which is basically a year where reptiles don't produce offspring. This can be because of, some studies suggest it's because they can't find the correct habitat to breed. Some studies suggest it's because they can't find the correct habitat to lay their eggs. And other studies suggest that it's because they can't find the correct habitat for their eggs to actually incubate properly and hatch. So we don't know exactly what's causing bust years, but we know that it's climate change related stuff. And that's something that there are a lot of studies going on about right now. Yes, and fires. Fires are something that is super important. And I guess I didn't mention that a minute ago because that's one of the things that I'm really going to dive into here in a little bit. Hey, Harry, or Harold. I can't remember which you prefer, sorry. All right, so another thing is increased flooding is causing amphibian eggs and tadpoles to be killed, leading to smaller populations. So basically, yeah. So basically, as we know, when polar ice is melting, that is causing the sea levels to rise, but we're also seeing more hurricanes and stuff, and all of these things are events that affect our oceans and our waters. Sparkling water. We love sparkling water, saving the day when my throat gets dry during a live stream. Basically, because of all the flooding and stuff that's happening because of the sea level rise and the hurricanes, why can I never remember that word? we are seeing places where amphibians used to lay eggs being destroyed. And so they really have no place to lay their eggs, and their tadpoles, once they do lay their eggs, they're being either drowned or dried out. So they are dying, which means that next year there is no new population to reproduce. So the population just keeps dying and dying and dying. Hannah says, off topic, are you keeping the stream up? I'm posting a video about saving the planet later, and it'd be cool if I could send people over to this stream for more detailed info about the climate crisis. Yes, I will be keeping this stream up afterwards for, I mean, at least several months. I definitely think it's something that, until I have the time to make it into a more professional video, I will definitely keep it up. I actually, on my SD card, filmed this whole thing, but there was no time to upload it in time for Earth Day, so I decided to just do a live stream instead. That way I could interact and answer questions. Another good thing that Quinn brought up is also if sea levels are rising, coastal cities are going to flood. Imagine not having a New York City. Yeah, that is absolutely right. Here I have a list of a lot of coastal cities that climate change is very much affecting. So another thing we talked about, yeah, so many of the cities that will be intolerably flooded include Miami, Florida, New Orleans, Louisiana, Venice, Italy, Houston, Texas, Virginia Beach, Virginia, and then of course New York City. But that one, everyone has heard about the crisis with New York City, so I didn't put it on the list for some reason. Now, hotter temperatures are also causing reptiles and amphibians, but especially amphibians, to overheat, which are leading certain species of them to already become extinct. Now, another thing that's really interesting is that it's interesting and it's really sad are that some studies are suggesting that warmer temperatures are causing rat snakes to live in places where they aren't native, and this is causing them to eat the native species food, which decreases native populations, which again is very sad. And I said that kind of quickly, so I am actually going to show this right there. I do not want it to be ticking across the bottom though, because then you can't actually read it. Yeah, some studies are suggesting that warmer temperatures, basically rat snakes, as we know, really like warm temperatures, some species of them. So they are moving places that are warmer where they aren't native. Now, for example, say there are 100 corn snakes in a place, or actually I'm just going to use the example of 3 corn snakes. We have 3 corn snakes someplace. That's perfect. So that means they only need 3 mice to live. I am such a great artist, you guys. So 3 corn snakes and there are 3 mice. That means that the corn snakes have enough food to eat. But say the bigger and stronger rat snakes are moving in, but there's still only those 3 mice. These rat snakes, they're going to get their food because they're bigger than the corn snakes, but there's no more mice left. So that means that there's no food for the corn snakes. So the corn snake goes extinct in that area. It's pretty sad. Yeah, we're seeing climate change is causing more issues with our invasive species here in Florida. Animals invasive in South Florida are moving their way up. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Yeah, Hannah says, I'm in Texas. I'm not close to the ocean at all, but we're even seeing effects of problems in her area to do with the ocean. Yeah. Yeah, you guys see my beautiful drawing. I should start an art studio, basically. So moving on, another thing, excuse me, that we're seeing are increased wildfires. Now, I'm going to show you just some horrible images that you can see. Basically, this summer, this is what the sky here in, or not the sky, but yeah, if I can find the right picture, that would probably be helpful. Alrighty, I found it finally. This is kind of what the sky looked like in Oregon. Now, I fortunately didn't live in the area where it was this bad, but there were a lot of places where the skies were just like so gross because it was fiery. Let me see what it looked like from our house if I can find it. Yeah, like our sky all the way across the state looked similar to this. It was pretty crazy. So you can just imagine that if the fires are that bad now, just wait until we have more climate change caused issues and the fires get even worse. So, species which rely, oh, excuse me, I skipped way too early. So, the increased wildfires are decimating salamander populations in the Pacific Northwest. Now, actually, one of my friends who is a zoo educator at the Oregon Zoo talked about this, and she's actually now working with Oregon State University on a study all about this. But we're seeing, or she's seeing, I say we, she is seeing that it's taking several breeding seasons and expecting that it will take several more breeding seasons for the salamander species here in Oregon to recover from the wildfires based on previous wildfires. So it's pretty sad. Like, salamanders are so cute, and Oregon has some of the most beautiful salamanders. Yeah, another reason it's called climate change, as Quinn here mentioned, is it's also getting warmer in some places and colder in other places. It's causing a lot more extreme weather and wind. That's another thing. And for those of you who don't know, there are a lot of species of reptiles which rely on temperature sexing for their eggs. So basically, the eggs are incubated at a certain temperature, and that means that the eggs will be a certain sex. So, for example, when leopard geckos are incubated at cool temperatures, the eggs hatch out as females almost always, and males at warmer temperatures. And there are a lot of species which rely on temperature sexing, including alligators, turtles, and a lot of gecko species. And so, because of climate change, they are already seeing that in the wild, those species are having clutches with either way too many males or way too many females. So the ratio isn't completely on track like it should be. Now, another thing that we're seeing is alligators and crocodiles live in primarily coastal areas, and their habitat is being destroyed by all these storms. That's another pretty sad thing. Okay, so there is a thing called chytrid fungus, and I just have to show a picture of this because I really can't describe exactly how it works because it's pretty gross. I want to find a good picture of it, you guys. Yeah. Here is a great little example of it. Okay, so I am going to provide a quick little trigger warning. The image that I am about to show is a little bit graphic. It's of a frog that had been negatively affected by chytrid fungus. So I'm going to put the scientific name of it on the screen right now because it is hard to say, but yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to say it. So just look on the screen right now. This is the word, and it's a fungus that is really negatively affecting amphibians. So it's a pathogen. Here's what it says in my notes. It's a pathogen killing many amphibians, and it's directly linked to climate change. So chytridiomycosis, which is another word for it, or Batrachotryphium dendrobatitis. I did know the dendrobatitis part. Yeah, I'm gonna make that a lot smaller here if I can. There we go. That way you don't have to see it as graphically. Basically, that is something that thrives in warm weather and weather with more rain and stuff. So of course, climate change is causing that to absolutely take off. Yeah, I absolutely agree. It is very, very awful. So take a screenshot now if you want to research it right there, because it is going away in 3, 2, 1. All right, bye. Now we're going to move on to the next bullet point here in my notes. Additionally, when reptile and amphibian breeding seasons are altered, their prey will be born or hatched too early or too late for the reptiles and amphibians to eat. Now that means less food means less will survive, so there will be fewer breeding adults each season until we see another mass extinction event. So the good news is that there is still time for us to stop climate change and even reverse most of its effects. So we all have to help out if we're going to do that, though, because otherwise it's not going to get any better. But we still have time for it to get better if we want to. We can't wait to act or else it'll be too late. And in my next video, I'm going to be talking about what we as individuals can do to face the climate crisis. So, like I said earlier, I was going to make this its own separate video, but I had to do it as a live stream instead. But I definitely plan on making a video about what we can do to help the environment and help stop global warming. But what I want to tell you right now is that the number one way that we can help stop the climate crisis is advocate for legislative action. We as people are doing a lot, but there are 100 companies that are doing more damage to the environment than any individual people or all individual people combined here in the US. So I would just ask that you please call your members of Congress and ask them to co-sponsor the Green New Deal or something like that. Just ask them to support some climate legislation. Gracie has to go. Okay, see you later, Gracie. Have a great day. Thank you so much for coming. Now, I wasn't originally planning on doing this, but I'm wondering, would you guys want me to call my member of Congress of the House right now and ask him to co-sponsor the Green New Deal? I'm going to give you a few seconds in the chat to let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Okay, perfect. And yes, call. People want me to call, so I will do that. But maybe while I'm doing that, you can all do that too. So basically, here's the website that I want you to go to. And I'll put it in the chat as well. And you can go here and it will tell you where your member of Congress is. Or excuse me, who your member of Congress is, so that you can call them and ask them to sponsor some climate change legislation. Basically, I am going to paste in the chat right now what you should say. Okay, something along the lines of this is what I was able to find. Oh wow, it pasted it as like 30 messages, but that's okay. I will also show it on the screen right now. Okay, let's do that right now. I'm still learning how to work this software, so I am very sorry. Basically, this right here is what we're going to call and ask them to do. Okay, I am going to call right now. I already know who my member of the House is. It is Cliff Benz. I'm in Oregon's 2nd Congressional District. And this is just one example piece of legislation, but there are so many other climate pieces of climate legislation that we can all be supporting to help protect not only the reptiles and amphibians that we love, but also the people that we love. Come on, I swear if it doesn't let me call. What the heck? Oh, perfect. Okay, I found the number. Sometimes you really do have to dig for your member of Congress's phone number. And the House is in session right now, so I'm going to call the Washington office. It is 202-225-6730.
And Congressional District. You've reached my Washington, D.C. office. I'm sorry we missed your call, but please.
They never actually answer the phones, so.
And we'll get back to you.
Record your message after the tone. When you've finished, you can hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, my name is Hunter Hauk, and I'm one of your constituents here in Oregon's 2nd Congressional District. I'm calling to ask that you, Congressman Benz, support a plan to stop the climate crisis that's actually in line with what the world's top scientists and United Nations is saying is necessary. That starts with you supporting Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's special committee to develop a plan for a Green New Deal bill. Please endorse Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's resolution for a select committee on a Green New Deal. A Green New Deal can get us off fossil fuels to 100% renewable energy over the next decade in a way that prioritizes the needs of low-income and people of color communities who have been on the front lines of climate impacts. It can put people back to work earning a family wage. It's a bold, progressive solution at the scale of the crisis we face. Congressman Benz, I'm asking you please support this resolution. Thank you. All right, it's really that easy. It's not hard to call your member of Congress. Sometimes it can be a little scary and stuff, but it doesn't have to be. And I know that each and every one of you can do it. Yes, I was on the phone. Oh, Hunter's on the phone. Yeah, I have a sign on my door that says be quiet because I am live streaming on YouTube. All right, I want to ask if any of you have any questions for me before I wrap up this stream. I am going to grab a drink of water and be right back while you let your questions come in. I guess I can't just leave you hanging. I have to show you a frog because that's what we do now when I leave the live stream for a minute. Okay, enjoy. Okay, I have returned. Let me get rid of this annoying little ticker at the bottom. Perfect. Once again, today is Earth Day 2021, and if you want to call your members of Congress, screenshot this link right now, and it'll tell you what your members of Congress's phone number are. If you want to see the frog one more time, you can. Okay, now it's time to go back to answering your questions. If I can get back to the chat section, I don't know how to work my way around StreamYard. Okay. Quinn says, can we do more streams like Q&A or sit down with coffee and smoothies and talk about reptiles and amphibians? Would you guys like to do that? Yeah, I would absolutely love to do that. I have been meaning to plan like a Zoom meet and greet with you guys. The tickets would be like free, and I might have like, I don't know, a VIP option that's like 2 of them. And they would be super cheap too still. But I think it would be super nice to actually be able to meet you guys because I love talking to you here on the live streams, but I haven't actually met very many of you. So that would be awesome. Okay, next, if the oceans are rising, does that mean there will be more fish? And that is a no. So one of the things that happens with climate change is the oceans, yes, they are rising, but we're also putting plastic and chemicals out into the ocean, which is called bleaching the ocean, which is killing lots of corals, which that's why it's called bleaching, because corals turn bleach-colored white when they are dead, and it also kills the fish. So no, there will not be more fishies. There will be more dead fishies. Ooh, do you have any advice for anyone starting their eco-friendly journey? I mean, just my first piece of advice would be invest in some reusable metal straws. That's like the first symbolic thing that you can do. And second of all, just get involved. A lot of places, when it's not COVID times, have like local climate organizations. If you agree with the Sunrise Movement or the US Youth Climate Strike, Fridays for Future, there's a lot of different organizations that you can join that there's probably a chapter near you. So just find something like that that you think would interest you. And that's how you can probably make the biggest change, because basically I just want to show you something that isn't necessarily talking about the climate movement, but it certainly applies to the climate movement as well. Okay, it is this image right here. So basically you can see normally the one big fish, which in this case is climate change, is eating all the little fish. But you see here when all the little fish, which are the people, come together and fight, then the people, in this case, win against climate change or the big fish. So join something like this and organize with other fellow climate-minded individuals, and actually we can get something done that way. Okay, I'm gonna look for some more questions now. Let's see here. Quinn says, do you have any online reptile stores, or do you recommend any online reptile stores besides Josh's Frogs? Because I am on there all the time, LOL. Yeah, I mean, Pangea Reptile is super awesome. Don't buy from Reptile Supply Co. They have been a pain in my butt. I had to call them like 30 times to get them to actually ship out my order. Yeah. Ari says, thank you for doing this live stream. I learned a ton from what you spoke about. Well, thank you for coming to the live stream. I really appreciate you guys all coming here and listening to what I have to say. It's such an important topic so that we can help save the earth. I mean, it sounds big and drastic, but it's something that could really cause a lot of damage. And we have the ability to work together to fight back and end climate change, but we just have to do something about it. So I guess, did someone just do a message with nothing in it? Interesting. I guess I spoke a lot about the problems that climate change is causing for reptiles and amphibians in today's video, but in the next video that I upload, whenever that happens to be, I will be talking more about solutions that we can do to help solve the climate crisis. Now, I guess we can end off with this question right here. What is your number one eco-friendly tip? Oop, sorry, I keep doing this wrong. There we go. What is your number one eco-friendly tip? Oh, someone says, can we see River? Unfortunately, we cannot because I'm about to end this live stream. But if you guys can let me know what your number one eco-friendly tips are, I can add those maybe into the video as well. Let us see. Ooh, okay, Hannah just said something so important. To anyone worried that they aren't making an impact, remember this. Imagine if everyone did one small thing to help the planet, then we'd make a huge change. I think that is amazing. Ari says bye. Bye, Ari. Quinn says recycle. That is your eco-friendly tip. I definitely agree, but I think we're going to end off here on Hannah's eco-friendly tip. Thank you so much for Hannah, or to Hannah, for saying that, because that is absolutely true. It sometimes seems like we are all making a small impact, but we can't really do enough. But Hannah's absolutely right. We can all make a huge change if we all work together to do something about it. So do your small change every single day, whether that's bringing a reusable cup or calling your member of Congress. That's one of the biggest things that we can all work together to do, and that will make a huge change. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Hunter Hauk, and today is Earth Day 2021. These are the ways that climate change will affect reptiles and amphibians. If you did enjoy today's live stream, be sure to hit the thumbs up. And if for some reason you haven't seen my channel before, I guess I shouldn't say if for some reason you haven't seen my channel, but if for some reason this is the first video of mine that you have seen, this live stream, definitely subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Thank you all, and I guess I'm going to end this. I'm always so awkward because it takes a few seconds to end, but bye, everyone.